You guys went from a 10-second countdown, 10, 7, 3, 2, 1. We went up to 6, 5, 4. Welcome to Calling the Audible. I'm your host, Mo Khan. It's Tuesday night. And we're now in the month of April. We went through January, we went through February, we went through March, and now we're in April. The turn of the corner of games. We have 2 weeks left for the regular season. Playoffs begin April 14th. And with that in mind, there's a lot to look forward to here. First and foremost, captains, please double, triple, quadruple check your team page roster to make sure that all your players have 5 games who are playoff eligible. Number two, if you're trying to get people eligible, make sure they have proper uniforms with proper numbers, not taped, not markered, not stick-on, or whatever you want to do with them, proper numbers on uniforms that are also the same color as your team. So if your team's wearing blue, something in the blue shade. Not purple, not red, not orange, something in the blue shade, and so on and so forth. Spring registration, let's get that rolling, people. Let's get that rolling for sure. We have that up and running here, so don't forget to sign up for spring registration. And if you have any questions, please email to the league. If you have any concerns, questions about sites, the whole nine, how many teams you can play for. Don't forget there's a 5-on-5 as well. So if you want to do 5-on-5 and 6-on-6, you got yourself a buffet of options for this summer and what you want to do for the FPF season. And last but not least, the playoff dates are in lock and stow. So that means go check out your page and you can see when your division will play on the nights that have been allocated. There are some plan Bs and plan Cs in case of religious holidays that are coming up in the next few weeks, which we'll have that on display sooner than later. So again, playoff dates are available, spring registrations up and rolling, and a few other things as well to look forward to as we move towards the month of April. And we open up the show. We have 4 great guests. We got Brent Bakken on with us. We got Manuel Lavoie and Jeff Rosenblatt. But leading off the show is our man, Iggy Magnets. Iggy, good evening, sir. Oh, his mic is fumbling again. He's stressing out, Iggy. So we'll get Iggy back up in 2 seconds here as his mic is a bit botched over here. So unfortunately for Iggy, like he's been in his last few games in FPF, not playing his best on the field and off of it when it comes to the microphone application here. Iggy, can you hear us now?
I can. I've been hearing you the whole time, but now you can hear me.
I can hear you. You're almost like your performance that you had coming back from Toronto and your
mic. I was poor.
Okay, by the way, did I miss anything? Spring registration, winter playoff dates, anything else?
No. That seemed good. Although
excellent.
Your first question,
we have
first question will
Co-Ed
get
1,
updated.
Co-Ed 2.
Can you hear me?
A lot to get to in Co-Ed 1 and Co-Ed 2. Start off with Co-Ed 1 and what's going on right now. They're in last place, LPP. Should they be feeling comfortable that they have 3 games left to make up ground for the last playoff spot going towards the final 3 games on their schedule, Eggs?
2 games left. You hear me?
LPP has 3.
2.
I'm looking at
refresh the screen.
I am.
Oh, do it. Please do.
Oh, there we go. 8 games. All right. So 2 more games left. 2 more games left.
So should they be concerned? I mean, you should always be. What?
Or even comfortable because you got 2 games to make up the 1-game gap with them and 0 sub to jump over them for a playoff spot.
So no team should feel comfortable in Co-Ed 1 because all the teams can beat all the teams, or any team can beat any team on any given night. So, I mean, without even going into the schedule, yes, they should be worried. No, they should not be comfortable. So then you take a look at who specifically they're playing. Kiss My End Zone, which will be a shorthanded Kiss My End Zone, so the roster will look quite different. So, either way, they're missing some guys and girls, but there are suitable replacements there. And then really, I think the season's going to come down, more importantly, this last game of the season versus the IG team, right? A team that they're directly chasing. They're directly chasing for now. Both of them are eliminated, but that one basically is a lose and you're out of the playoff situation. So that one's going to be super fascinating to watch out for.
I think LPP, um, they're okay. Look, they got look. You said it before. They got 2 games left. They're a point behind zero sub and IG team for the spots above them. And you said it before. You're playing a shorthanded Kiss Man Zone team. That could be a win right there. And then the following Saturday, it might come down to that game against IG team to get in. And I think now is when you look at this roster and Dom the Fourth for what he's done so far this season, it's his time to shine. This is where he shines. This is where he loves the spotlight. He loves to be the man of the hour. And I think it's on him to win him this football game, at least for this weekend and perhaps even for next weekend.
I mean, he has to. He has while he's had a good season in Division 3, he's 22 TDs, 10 INTs basically. I know it's 9, but just round it up to 10. 2-to-1 TD to INT ratio is not good. So he definitely needs to step up his game right now. He had a chance Monday, March 25th against Sub-Zero Sub to come away with 2 big points and failed to do so, just losing out by 1 point. He made it a competitive game, of course, but didn't get the win. And they more than a good
Right.
game, I guess, because now, now I'm gonna contradict myself. I was gonna say like he absolutely needs a big win, but or to play it great. But even if he plays, to that 2 TD 1 INT ratio, if it doesn't matter if as long as he can squeeze out a win. If it comes down that it's a muddy game and both teams have like 3 interceptions and 2 4 and outs, and it's like a bad game from the quarterback, it doesn't matter as long as that last drive you can score and you're clutch when you need to be. Then that's all that matters. And he can be, with the ball in his hands in the last possession, he is able to score and finish off a team and get his team the victory. So I mean, again, I still personally think he needs to play his best football because he hasn't so far this season. But if it comes down that he hasn't had a good game, but he has the chance to win it, he has the chance to do that, and he certainly can, and he'll have to.
On the flip side, at the top of the table, you have 2 of the top 3 teams who will have a clash this weekend. And I'm talking about Easy Fun against Plenty of Fish. Who
Mm.
needs this game more at this point of the regular season?
Who needs it more? I mean, I think I think if Easy Fun wins and they win out their season, their remaining 2 games, that loss to Plenty of Fish would suffer to Easy Fun. And Easy Fun winning out in my scenario pushes Easy Fun over Plenty of Fish for the 1-2 seed for the first round bye. So I'm gonna say it's a bigger game for Easy Fun to win. I mean, that said, yeah, I'm gonna do this like flip flopping thing again. I mean, it's as big a game for both, right? Because if Plenty of Fish loses it, they give themselves the chance to not get a first round bye. But yet, if they win it, they clinch the first round bye. So I mean, it's equally both important for both teams in terms of that first round bye. But I think overall, I think it's a bigger game for Easy Fun. They have the 3 losses on the season. I think a win against the current number 1 seed gives them that extra boost of confidence that I don't want to necessarily say that they absolutely need, because again, any team can beat any team, as I said at the top of the segment here. But I just think it gives them a nice confidence booster. Hey, the number 1 seed, like I've been saying all season with you, Mo, the number 1 seed doesn't mean anything, and it's Easy Fun's chance to prove that.
So I think Plenty of Fish needs this game more than Easy Fun, because you think about their run of games of late, as you see on the screen right now. Since early March, I mean, they won by 2 against Le Postinet. They won by 3 against Sub-Zero. Zero Sub, I beg your pardon. They won by 9 against Zero Sub. And then they lost to Le Petit Fuck by 9. So have they been playing the best football? No, probably not. But I think now for them, playing fish, it's all based on, hey, you want to avoid easy fun and the Porcinet at least in the early rounds, and hopefully avoid them until maybe Final Four, if not maybe the final itself. So I think it's a bigger game for them and how they want to have not an easier road, but a much more, how can I describe this? A much not relaxed. I'm just looking for. I'm trying to find the term right now in this famished brain of mine.
The path of least resistance.
Yes, there you go. The path of least resistance that can give them a better road to getting to the final than going through easy fun to the Bucks and net maybe in the second round of the playoffs than say in the final four or maybe in the finals for that matter.
Fair. I mean, you could say that for both teams, though. I mean, that's the thing, and I just think Easy Fun being having suffered 3 losses, just again to my point, beating the number 1 seed doesn't mean anything. Like it'll show them that they can beat them, whether it's in the first round, second round. I think it's just a slightly bigger game, but we're picking hairs. I think you're absolutely right in your analysis with POF as well.
Gab Harvey, one of the best receivers in Co-Ed 1. Does he have a chance to win the Triple Crown, which is the receptions, yards, and touchdowns? He's got 2 or 3 so far. Can he do the Triple Crown feat this season, Iggs?
So just to look at it, he has 2 of the 3, but the third one he's tied in, right, with touchdowns with Marvin Steinberg, correct? Right? He has 54
has
receptions.
16 touchdowns. He's going to win that probably. And then yards, he is at 456. So he's chasing Emily Carrière, who's at 533 right now. And he's at 16 touchdowns right now. So he's got 2 of the 3 right now, but of course there's some work to be done.
I think that gap is too big to reach. While both quarterbacks of Zero Sub, so Sarah Parker, and of Le Porcinet, Chris Vero, I think both quarterbacks spread the ball quite evenly amongst their receivers. But that said, Sarah Parker distributes just a little more to Amélie Carrière and to her snapper as well. So I believe there that that's a gap that Gab Harvey just doesn't have enough games left in the schedule, and again the way Chris Vero distributes the ball amongst 5-6 receivers deep in the lineup, that I don't think that gap can be closed.
Yeah, I think if Gab goes off for, let's just say, argument's sake, let's say he goes off for 85 in his next game, that would put him at around 530-ish. And let's say Emily Carrière is at 533. She goes off for like 40, right? So 40 yards can be made up on the last game. So I think it really comes down to this next game and how many yards he gets, Iggs, right, to get that chance. Touchdowns, like it's a coin flip at that point, right, with him and Marvin Steinberg going at it. So do I give him a chance to win the Triple Crown? Yeah, I think I give him a fair number, but I think that it's going to be based off how he does in this next game. That can kind of set the platform for him to perhaps win all 3 categories going towards the final game of the season for them.
Yeah, I mean, what's your number at? What's the percent? What's the odds he wins it?
I'm gonna go 35%.
That's high, man. I'm going 10 to 15% because even the touchdowns, he's not guaranteed to end up as the number 1 seed or the number 1 target there and leader in touchdowns. It could happen, and I'd say that's likely. I'll say he's likely to get the most receptions by the end of the year. Yards is what really, like, he has like a 10% chance of reaching it. And then the touchdowns, he has a better chance of in that department, like it's 70 to 80% chance of ending in first. Overall, 10 to 15%.
If he gets 85 yards in his next game, I think he's got a chance. I really do. Co-ed 2, Iggs. More confidence in Powerpuff Girls or Tigres to steal the last playoff spot in Co-ed 2?
Again, without looking immediately at the standings and the schedule remaining left for both teams, I would have to say Tigres. Both are 2-7. Let's take a look here.
They
So
got balls deep coming up.
Tigres have balls deep, or Powerpuff Girls do?
Tigres has balls deep coming up next game.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for them. Balls deep has the athleticism to cover the scheme that Tigres like to implement and run on. And the Tigres defense is just not communicative enough to defend what balls deep present as an offense. I give them like a 10% chance, 12 max. Again, that 10 to 15% chance to win out against balls deep to better their playoff hopes. That said, Powerpuff Girls
They got
have
Y and Y.
have Y and Y like equally as difficult, if not more difficult. I'd probably give them like a 7%, 5% chance of winning that game. So going odds wise, I'd have to go Tigres, and that was my gut feeling as well.
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls can't. They're not good on offense. They lack any ingenuity, any confidence to score points. I think right now, Iggs, they've scored, I think, just under 23 points a game. I think Tigres has a chance to put up points, but again, you look at balls deep, they're in a fight right now because they're right now in the 10 hole, and a win at least could put them up as high as 7, depending on if things play out for the rest of the competition moving forward here. So I think Tigres definitely has a chance to make some noise here, but it's a question of which Tigres team will get. Are they going to, discombobulate and show up the referees and not be happy with the officiating? Or are they going to be more mature enough to play their game and hopefully have it fall their way that, hey, we're going to punch our ticket to the playoffs because someone above us in the green side of the fence failed, and now we jump in to take their spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be that way. It would have to be that they concentrate on their own game, like you're mentioning. That's when they play their best flag football, and they're gonna need help along the way. Even if they win that game, they'll
Yeah.
need help. Meow Meow losing out the night. They still have 3 games on their schedule. Meow Meow do. They need them to lose out. They would need balls Prafond in the last and final playoff spot right now. They would need them to lose out. They need a lot of help along the way, and on top of playing their best game.
Right now in co-ed 2, is there a team in a playoff spot that you're concerned about that's leaking oil going towards the final 2 games and then going towards the playoffs?
I don't know. Do you have a particular team that you feel is leaking oil?
Um,
Is it
I,
have to do anything with a boat?
no. I think, look, seen a few teams play here and there. I was a bit worried about Fit Squad the last couple of weeks. I've watched them from afar because they've been on next door to me for field and all that stuff. Last
Okay.
couple of weeks here. But they lost by 7 to McNuggies or McNoogies, whatever you want to call them.
Wait, no,
They
no, no,
lost by
no,
1
no,
to.
no, 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 no. We're settling this debate right here. Where did McNoogies come from? What is this? It's
I
this
call it
this
McNoogies.
this is not no. That's not up for debate. It
If
is
Eagle can call it
McNuggies.
whatever he wants to call it, I can call it whatever I want to call it.
It's McNuggies. Where did McNoogies? No,
I'm gonna call it
it's a
McNoogies,
chicken
okay?
nugget on their logo. Like talk
I'm gonna
about
call it
you.
McNoogies, okay?
You
It
you
sounds
talk
cooler.
you talk about the best like uniforms in all of FPF and Ramfins. My God, this McNuggies jersey is better. Come
No,
on,
it's not.
come on now.
You tell me you can find a flying dolphin with horns.
God damn it. It's the weekly debate here. Okay, what was the question? Yeah. They lost. They
Cooler
beat
name.
Fit Squad by 7. Yeah.
Because Eagle would call them McNoogies if he was here.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes,
No,
he would.
because he knows how to pronunciate.
Oh, my mic's going off right now. He
Oh,
would. Yeah, mic fell off right now. Okay, look, they lost to McNoogies by 7. Lost to Team Rocket by 1. So, and they lost to the Flash by 5. So I was a bit
Those
concerned
are-
about Fit Squad.
those are competitive games, though.
I know, but the thing is, that we're talking about a Fit Squad team that's been competitive, and for whatever reason this year, at the record that they're at, which right now currently sits at 3-4, 3 games to go, and their final 3 games that they have is Pick Six, Bad Parfum, and Canicule. this is now where I think they are leaking oil, but it could be corrected if they go to the garage and get their tune-up done for the spring season. But they should be better than what the record has indicated right now at 3-4.
I guess. I mean, those are good teams that they lost to. Like you're saying the 5 point loss to Flash, the 1 point loss to Team Rocket, not a bad team at all. And remember, Fit Squad, much like Brut in the women's division, they lost Laurence Pontbriand. So that's a like they lost a lot of their female talent there. Of course, Frédéric Chevalier, Virginie Roussel, even Celestine Chartier. They're good female players. They're more than capable of playing in co-ed too. But you took away an elite piece on offense from them, and you're seeing the effects there.
Team Rocket, are they in that conversation as title contenders in Co-ed 2?
What's their record right now? They're sitting at
I believe
6-2.
6-2 right now.
6-2. Quick analysis.
They're in fifth
28.
place. They can move up.
29 points a game. Roughly 181. We're looking at 23 points against, so margin of victory of about 5-6 points. I mean, defensively, the team is I want to say a top 5 defense in the division. The thing is, you have a relatively inexperienced quarterback in Guillaume Bellan taking a second crack at it from last winter season, I believe. Funny Club, Co-ed 1, rings a bell. I mean, the stats are good. Don't get me wrong. 28 TDs, 4 INTs. That's a nice ratio for you. And the offense, the receivers, have a 300-yard receiver in Nassim Ouadi, 255 from Alcide Renault. So, your two-headed monster, one male, one female. So it's clearly the even the ball distribution, right? You have Joël Bouchard, 25 targets, Thomas Charles Paradis, 14, Clara Baudouin, 17. The female, here's my long-winded answer. It's yes. This is a title contending team, but a lot will hinge and like rightfully so, like any team, it always hinges on the quarterback. But there's just a few more question marks in terms of experience and maybe game management and critical timeliness of plays from your quarterback. That's going to be the question mark when it comes into those key and critical playoff games and moments.
Yeah, look, I think they are in that conversation. If you look at it right now, they won by 1 against Fit Squad. They won by 1 against Pig 6, so they could easily be a 4-4 team. But they're not, right? They won by 7 against Canicule. They lost to Pass Whippen by 7. You see a pattern right now. They lost by 1 to who's going to carry the boats. So in their last 5 games, they are now 3-2 in games decided by 7 points or less. So is that a good thing? Yeah, I think when it comes to the playoffs, they're going to be prepared for that and how it's going to play for them. So I think they are a title contender. I think you're bang on with the quarterback play has to be a little bit more effervescent than what it is right now. I believe that this defense can lock up, and if they come up with a couple of turnovers in their favor, then and they convert for points, then I think they could be a Final Four team and perhaps even get to the finals in early May.
Yeah, and their last 2 matchups, they don't even have to win. I obviously they'd prefer, and I would prefer them to see them win in terms of the argument for them to be contenders.
Right.
But even if they keep it close against Kiss My Christmas Balls and or Lords of the Field, that's what you want to see, right? Those are 2 teams that are sitting, I believe, ahead of them in the standings right now. Although Lords of the Fields have suffered 2 losses as of late, so they're sitting at 5-4 right now after 9 games. So Team Rocket actually a few 4 spots ahead of them right now. Really, the KMCB game is going to be a one where, and I think they can. I think they really can keep it close because Team Rocket's female talent and level of play is probably the best in the division. Very close, I'd say, with Pass Whippins. Those 2 teams for me have the highest female talent. So, and when you have that, we've said it in the past about co-ed that female talent will take you very far. It separates usually good teams from great teams. let's see how much that makes, how much that rings true more so now that it's 3 male, 3 female players on the field.
All right. Nightingale, is Brent Bucket on the tarmac right now, waiting to come on the show? What's
You got about 4 more minutes for
Oh
that.
boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Brent Bakken is not there yet. So we'll try to get a hold of Brent if we can soon enough to get him on the show here with Iggy and I. So Iggs, I guess that's it for you and I for this segment.
Well, here what we can do, Mo, is what we haven't done in quite a while. We can do games of the week while we wait here for Brent. So Mo, I'll start with you in co-ed 1 in week 14. My God, week 14 of the FPF winter
this would have
season.
been normally playoffs round 1, I think.
Seriously. There's actually a few slated games here for co-ed 1. So, Mo, Kiss My End Zone versus Le Petit Fuck. Who do you got?
Well, since you gave me inside information about your current status of your roster being marginalized by no one showing up,
Oh,
LPP.
well, marginalized, but they're still great substitute players coming to replace us.
So you say.
So you're okay. So you're still going LPP.
Yes.
Easy Fun versus Plenty of Fish. The battle for that number 1 seed.
I think the Fish win.
Okay. Zero Sub versus Easy Fun. They play 2 games in 2 days for Easy Fun.
Easy Fun wins that one.
Okay, so they split 1-1 their weekend matchups. Then you have Kiss My End Zone playing Party Mix at the Bear Dome.
Gonna go Kiss My End Zone.
Okay, they faced off once before. Kiss My End Zone got the victory there, so you think they will go 2-0 in that season series?
Someone accused me of changing the play on a touchdown call on that.
Accused you of changing a play on a touchdown. Oh, I got you. And then to wrap up in co-ed 1, you got Le Porcinet playing the IG team.
Give me the Porkers.
Okay, the Porkers
win it.
Gonna go, I believe, 8-2 is if I remember correctly.
Yeah. The Team Swan's gonna do it. I don't eat pig, but they're gonna do it. I think they'll be okay.
All right, and then in co-ed 2 in week 14. Oh my God, a lot of games here, Mo. So let's see if we can.
There we go.
Yeah, here we go. So you got Pass Whoopin' versus Pig 6.
Whoopin'.
Y&Y versus You and I.
Y&Y.
The IG Team 2 versus Team Meow Meow. Think about it.
Meow.
Kamikaze versus Kiss My Christmas Balls.
Christmas balls.
Canicule versus McNuggies.
McNuggies.
God damn it. So no one wins that game. Team Meow Meow versus Flash.
Meow.
Ooh, upset special there, as Brent likes to refer to it. Team Rocket versus Kiss My Christmas Balls.
I'm going to go with Rocket.
Ooh, interesting. So Kiss My Christmas Balls do not get their perfect season.
Nope.
Fit Squad versus Bal Profond.
I'm going to go Fit Squad. They're leaking, but they'll fix it up.
All right. Bal Profond against who's going to carry the boats?
I'm going to go with Carry the Boats.
Tigres versus Balls Deep for their survival of playoffs.
Balls deep.
Team Rocket versus Lords of the Field.
Rockets.
Pig 6 versus Balls Deep.
I'm going to go with Balls Deep.
And then the last of many double headers for many teams, Fit Squad versus Canicule.
Fit Squad.
Okay, that's games of the week as we used to do it without the music though this time.
Yeah.
Co-ed
stick
1.
Around for a few minutes
2.
before I guess Jeff Rosebach shows up here if you want.
Oh, so we're going to Jeff now and not Brent?
Well, we have Jeff for 7:20. So
yeah, so he's gonna have to go
Jeff
in the.
shows up. Nightingale, if you don't mind texting Jeff Rosenblatt to let him know that we're ready to have him on, please. If you don't mind, thank you. We'll have him on. That way, if Brent does show up, at least Jeff can get going here, right? And get him on there, squeeze him in there, type of thing.
I think Nightingale's like watching videos or something. I heard.
Yeah, I think he is.
Like,
What's Nightingale watching?
I heard some videos like playing
Is he
in the
watching
background.
videos?
I don't know what is watching peas.
Yeah, I think he's blushing right now with the laughing in the background there.
Oh, he's checking something for us here. We don't want to keep the silence.
Yeah,
I
yeah, for
always
sure.
find it fascinating. I listen back and I hear the silence, and I'm like, "This is cringe-worthy," but I silence, but I know exactly what's going on because
For
I
sure.
hear
We'll get
Nightingale.
on Jeff, I think, in a few minutes here, and then Manuel Laroy. By the way, we can start teasing the Div 3 playoffs here. It's just we can kill some time here with our next guest coming in. So, Div 3, we can kind of tease it up here. You're going to post it up in the article, I would imagine, Niggs, this week?
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get
Okay.
a full text and graphic design that will help explain the Division 3 format. But of course, they're gonna describe this in full for the viewers who watch. Calling the Audible as an entire 2 hour spectacle and piece of entertainment that we are. The order of this may not make much sense, but you'll repeat all of this in the
Yeah,
Division
it's
Three
it's a it's
segment.
a it's a March Madness format that we're going to use for Div
Ooh.
3, and the idea of what we're trying to do is that we will reward um, division winners accordingly. So that's one thing to look at, and we'll have it all set up for you with Manuel Laroy in the later part of this show. Iggs, thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. Your next guest is on
Yeah,
the
he's lying down.
tarmac,
He's
as you like
relaxed,
to
man.
say.
He's on the on deck circle right now. All right,
Yeah,
Iggs,
he's
thanks so much,
not
brother.
in his car though, and the only meeting he's having is this one here.
That's right. Have a
All
good
right,
night.
good night.
We'll talk soon, man. Be good, brother.
Bye.
All right. On the on deck circle, are we ready to go, Nightingale? We got Jeff Roseblatt, who's going to join us from Div 1 and Div 2. And we'll get that rolling here. And we'll break it down with him now to talk about the two divisions here. And maybe we'll get his top five. Top five. Top five, what do we want to talk about with him? So we'll definitely get something from him in this segment coming up here from Calling the Audible. So now we are joined, as he's got his fan on in the background, TV in the background, Jeff Rosenblatt. Jeff, what show are you or is the missus watching right now in the background?
It should be Law and Order SVU because we're huge SVU fans. But yeah, I think that's what it is. The missus is not here; is in the other room right now. So
So you watch this by yourself on primetime hours.
I do, and I'm just gonna preface this that I have a cold, so just
Yeah, I can
bear
sense
with
that.
me. Yes, bear with me with if my voice sounds a little bit off today.
Yeah, I was a little bit rocked by the weather last week. So it's a seasonal change. It always happens to everyone, right? We go from
One
cold to
hundred
warm.
percent, exactly.
Let's dive into the Div 2 talk here first, Jeff. Right now, your thoughts on Stoics. Your boy Chris Rive sent me a text reminding me to remind you about his Stoics. So, is your heart now open towards Stoics and how they have been the last couple weeks?
My heart is more than open. When we played them a few weeks ago, I was very impressed with Chris. I thought he made great decisions on offense. I think he uses his weapons very well. They play very good defense. They have a few guys. I mean, I'm not as familiar with his team, but these Petterkin kids and a few other guys on the team really, really impressed me. They were really, really, really good. And I definitely have to get to know them better because I think we definitely underestimated them. They're an underrated squad. I think they can upset some teams coming up.
Well, they're 4-4 right now, so they're essentially in the middle of the playoff pack of teams that we have. I mean, above them is Ambush, below them is hashtag NR. Can you see this team finishing above 500? So what I'm implying, can they go 6-4 because their last two games that they have left on their schedule, Jeff, is Skills Bees and 2HD.
Yeah, I mean 5-5 seems very realistic. Even you could argue 6-4. I mean, Skills Bees, they're a good team, but just everything has gone wrong for them this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they lose another nail biter to the Stoics. And I know 2.5 Dance has been struggling. So if you tell me that the Stoics finish 6-4, which I would have never have predicted before the season started,
Yeah.
I would believe it, and I'm very impressed with them.
At 3-6, are Bless Up safe to make the playoffs? They're in the 11 hole right now, and they have one more game left, and they came up with a big one over Skills Bees by 16 last weekend.
The way this division is panning out, I think 3 wins is actually going to get you into the playoffs. Um, I'm not sure I see Skills Bees, like we talked about, beating the Stoics. So I think that would end their season with 1 win. And then you have the other 2 bottom dwellers for that last playoff spot being Run It Once and Poseidon's Kiss, where Poseidon's Kiss I know has 2 games coming up. I think it's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And Run It Once has a game this Saturday, and then I think the Saturday after that. And I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say, both of them, they go 1-1. So they end up with 3 wins, where I think we beat them. So we would, I guess, have the tiebreaker. But those 2 teams, Run It Once, Poseidon's Kiss, struggling bad this season as well. So I'm not sure either of them win their last 2 games. So if there's a split, they each go 1-1. Bless should be, I believe, safe with the tiebreakers, and 3 wins is going to get you in.
Yeah, I think Bless Up is safe now. I really do. I think that Skills Bees they're gonna run a racetrack, unfortunately, and you said it before. We spoke about it before. They have had such bad luck this season. Besides Kiss, I'm not very confident. I think you guys will sneak in and be at least a 12th seed going into the tournament. So I think they do get that locked in there. Now on the flip side of things here, Silent Ticklers. Do they have a better offense than CFB at this point of the season, Jeff?
It's so tough. I mean, I'm looking at some of these stats here. Panetta 9 games, 51 touchdowns, 8 picks. Maher 8 games, 46 touchdowns, 3 picks. I mean, this Maher stat line is off the charts. 75% completion, 133.3 QBR. It's unbelievable. Who has the better offense? I think Silent Ticklers have the more explosive offense.
Right.
I think they're going to hit you with the deep shot a little bit more. I know Jordan loves it, and with Adam and Dan on the team, that deep shot is going to be there. I think the Braves offense is probably a little bit more methodical. So, which offense is better? I think one is more explosive and one is more methodical. But if it's a coin flip, it's a coin flip right now. They're both the cream of the crop. You can't disregard Mangoose either, but you're splitting hairs there. It's basically the same thing, just a little bit different.
Yeah, I think you said it before. I think Silent Ticklers are more explosive as an offense, right? They if you look at the yards per pass, a big part that Jordan Panetta does. It's like 14 yards per pass, right? Usually on average about 9.5 yards for any quarterback in this league of ours. But I think when you look at CFB, I think they're more skilled as an offensive unit because they can adjust to what they have. If it's a low-scoring game, Jeff, they'll adjust to it. But if it's a high-scoring game, they'll just up the temperature in the room and make it that. I think for Silent Ticklers, I'm not sure if they have that mode to kind of lower it down a little bit if they have to, if they're in that grind-out effort against a team that might slow it down against them in the playoffs.
So it's a very good point. The funny thing is when we played the Ticklers, we really tried to take away that deep shot and make them march down the field. And we were able to do it as best we could. They still put up 30-something against us.
Right.
But, Jordan's a smart quarterback. He was able to do it. But I think to your point, I think there's definitely some validity there. Maybe Joe's squad is a little bit more versatile. And I don't know if they played each other yet this year. But
no, they haven't.
They haven't.
That's the irony, right? They'll not play each other until maybe in the playoffs if they do meet up at some point.
Right. So that's a matchup I'm dying to see because that's 2 of the elite teams in this division, and if they're in the finals, I wouldn't be surprised, and I will unfortunately, if that's the case, be there commentating it.
You'll be there for both Div 1, Div 2. So cold free. So you'll be healthy. Fingers crossed by May 5th and 6th, right? So
I'll be healthy. I'll be healthy.
Well, you mentioned just before right now in your last point. So Nick Schaefer, Joe Meyer, do they have a chance to leave Jordan Pineda for quarterback of the year? If you look at the stats right now, Jeff, Pineda, as you said before, 51 touchdowns. He's on the cusp of 2,000 yards passing, 64% passer rating so far, or passing percentage, beg your pardon. Nick Schaefer, he's at 46 touchdowns, just under 1,700 yards passing. Joe Meyer, 46 touchdowns, 3 INTs, 75% passing, and same thing, almost 1,700 yards, 1,700 yards passing. So right now, is it Pineda's to lose, or you think it's Joe Meyer's to lose, or even Nick Schaefer for that matter?
I mean, if I was a betting man, I think I have to put Maher as the favorite, even though he's 5 touchdowns behind and about 200 yards, but he has that game in hand. So to me, it's a close race, probably between Maher and Pineda, with Schaefer just slightly behind. But I mean, I love Jordan. He's amazing. He's my teammate. But I think the favorite right now would be Maher. It would be Joe's title to lose if I had to pick.
So when I look at it now, Jeff, I just find that see, like Nick Schaefer, I saw him play yesterday against 2HD. It was easy for him. And I'm not saying in a bad way. I think it was easy for him that he's taking his game to the next level. I think Joe Meyer is your favorite from the perspective that his 75% passing completion number is very good. But I think for Pineda right now, he's got two of the biggest stats going in his favor, right? Touchdowns and passing yards. So I'm not too sure if that can be overcome by these other quarterbacks because Nick only has one more game left, and Joe's got two more games left. So I think it's Pineda's to lose at this point in the regular season.
Okay, that's fair. I see your argument. We'll see what Joe does in the next 2 games and what Jordan does in his last game, but it's going to be a tight finish for sure.
No question. It's literally like splitting hairs at that point. No question about that.
There you
Ambush, like they've lost all three top teams, right? CFB, Silent Ticklers, and of course it's Schaefer's team as well. And they've beaten everyone else below them. So really, Jeff, in your mind, are they a pretender or contender at this point in the season?
I got to say they're a contender. I think they're a contender. And the logic there would be that I think the 3 teams you mentioned really separated themselves. And Ambush, in my opinion, is probably the leader of the next group.
Right.
So, I mean, again, I think the Blue Ballers are very tough. I think if Dirty Birds would get it going, they're very tough. But I think Ambush is probably the leader of that second group. And, like I've said all along in Div 2, if you told me Bless Up or Terror Squad get to the finals, I wouldn't be surprised because I think almost any team in this division can beat any of the other teams. The lowest seed could beat the highest seed. It's a super stacked division where any game, anything could happen. That's how close sort of the talent level is. Even though I said those 3 teams separated themselves, not to the point where they can't be beat. That's
and
for
not
sure.
only that, though, Jeff, right? Ambush still in play for a top 4 seed, which would give them a bye. And you made that point about, hey, anyone could be anyone, which is 100% accurate. But if you get that bye, it's one less game to worry about. And that means you're not going to have that one and done if you end up being a 5 seed or lower and playing a team that you didn't think you would have played in the first round of the playoffs.
That's it. So I think if they do finish in the 4 seed, that's just another bonus for them in their quest and path to the finals. So yeah, short answer to your question. To me, they're contenders, 100%.
What's gone wrong for 2HD? They were 3-1, and now they lost 4 in a row.
You can't knock Joey Taylor. That's the first thing. Joey Taylor has proved that his system works in FBF. I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. He's won several championships. However, recently, Division II and the higher divisions have just gotten so strong with such athletic guys that if you know how to play defense against that style of offense, it can be contained now. I think in the past there weren't enough savvy defenders to understand the system that he runs. You can call it similar to, let's say, what Stephen Harpersaw does. They have a similar way of marching down the field. But I think because there are some really elite defenders and defensive teams now, Joey and Steve, from what I'm seeing, they're struggling a bit. I'm looking at their numbers. Joey 30 touchdowns and 16 picks.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Steven in 7 games only throwing 29 touchdowns and 8 picks. These are very unfamiliar numbers for these two guys that have been dominant Division 2, Division 3 guys for a long time. But like I said, I think the level has gone up so much that some of their systems have been infiltrated, we'll say, and they might have to come up with some new things moving forward.
So I'll say this: I saw 2HD play against Mongoose yesterday, and they were patient and they set traps. They laid out traps and they fell for them. And Joey got picked off twice. One went for a pick 6. And I think you're right that in this division, the speed, the windows are so much tighter that what Joey got away with so much ease and success in lower divisions with his unorthodox offense, the chaos creator that he is, it's not working as well as it once did. And maybe it's for him to maybe adjust and kind of tinker with the offense a little bit to kind of make it a little bit more second guessing of the defense, where they're asking themselves, well, hold on here. Are we reading this properly? If we're not, what do we have to do to chase now Joey, who was the one that was the hunter and now has been hunted by many out there?
I completely agree. And I think Joey is a good enough athlete that he can adjust a little bit. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have the strongest arm in the division, but again, if he can adjust a little bit and maybe throw a few new things into his playbook, I have no doubt that he'll be able to be successful. But I think everything you just said is totally accurate.
Have you seen him throw a deep ball ever, like a 40 bomb?
I've never seen him throw a 40 bomb, but I have
No.
seen him throw maybe a 20 bomb.
And that's like a 40 bomb equivalent in his books, right? Like in his repertoire of what he is as a quarterback. So I never seen him throw a 40 bomb ever in my life, but we'll have to see if they can make their adjustments moving forward. Division 1, Jeff, ATH squad, look, they're going to the playoffs now. We know that. Could they jump Party Crashers to get into the number 9 spot? Because remember, 7 versus 10, 8 versus 9 in the playing game that we'll have for Division 1.
I don't see it. I think Party Crashers, I'm not sure who they're playing, but they probably win one of their last 2 games.
They had an ugly loss against Flag West Sac last Friday.
Yeah. Who does Party Crashers have in their last 2 games?
They got your boys, the Jamesons, on Saturday. Hopefully you'll be healthy by then. And then they'll play Monday against the Braves.
Ooh. Okay. So let me change that. I'm not going to change it, though, because ATH, I saw the only win on their schedule would have been FFN. I don't see them beating any of the other teams in Div 1. So even if Fred loses his next 2 games, Fred and the boys, ATH squad would have to win 2 games, because if you look, Party Crashers have a tie. So they have 5 points. It means ATH squad would have to win 2 more games to leapfrog them.
Yeah.
I definitely don't see that happening. So I think the 9 and 10 spots are going to stay as is.
So looking at the spots above them, so KGP right now, they are in the 7th spot as we speak, and they're at 3 and 5, 2 games to go. Royan Liminal is at 4-4-1 with 1 game to go. Could KGP jump Royan Liminal for the 6th spot in the playoff race? And for KGP, their last 2 games that they have left in the schedule, Jeff, they will face All-Stars and FFN to wrap up their campaign this weekend.
See, it's tough because we don't know what's going on with Kevin. I don't know if Kevin is going to rest his arm for the playoffs, because I don't think seeding matters to him. So KGP could easily win their next 2 games. Now, on the flip side, Royaume plays ATH with their last game. So that's a win.
Yeah.
So if they both win, I guess it would come down to did Royaume beat KGP when they played? And I believe, if I remember correctly, they did. So I think Royaume would get
Yes, I
in.
believe you're correct on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Royaume would get in and keep their spot, the sixth spot. And that's likely what I see happening.
Yeah, I think KGP. You're right about Kevin Wyeth. If he's not healthy and they get a Kevin Wyeth-less roster quarterback position, they can win that. If they win that one, I think it sets up well for them because again, if they win up the last two games, they would be in firm position to get themselves a chance. Because again, the most points that they can get is 10, and Orlando can get all they need is pretty much one more point, and they're okay. But I think now for Royal Luminal is the question is, can they feel the proper roster? They didn't have a full roster on the weekend, and they got exposed. So can they get a full allotment of players available to them? We'll find out as we move towards that part of the season. Jeff, two more questions for you. Putting your team aside, because you guys are in the thick of the race here, which playoff matchup would you like to see in the early rounds of this playoff format? Would it be Blast against Braves? Would it be KGP against All Stars? Would it be Party Crashers against Flagmore Sack? Is there a matchup that you want to see in the early rounds of the playoffs that will be very sumptuous to watch?
I mean, any game that Flagmore Sack or All Stars are playing is interesting for me because I love watching them play. But a particular matchup that I think has a possibility of happening would be the Braves against KGP. I think KGP has historically played the Braves pretty tough. Quasi has a very good read on how to play defense against them. And obviously, Joe and the boys know how Phil runs his offense. So they know each other decently. That, to me, is definitely an intriguing game. Like we always say about KGP, when you look at them, you think, how are these guys playing Division One? But they're playing Division One because they know what they're doing. And I mean, my lean would be to the Braves, but if you told me KGP came up with the upset, I wouldn't be surprised.
Last question for you, Jeff. I know you've been a trooper for us today. This has your team involved as well. Flagmore Sack, they're 8-1. You guys are 7-1. 2 games to go for your schedule. Does Flagmore Sack hold on to the top spot and are the number one seed going towards the playoffs at the end of April?
I'm going to put some bias in, and I'm going to say no, because I think the Jamesons are going to win out. And even if Flagmore wins out, because we beat them earlier, I guess the tiebreak would go to us.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm going to say no. Flagmore going to finish second. Jameson's going to finish number one, and it's going to be a very, very exciting playoffs in Division One for sure.
Just to FYI you, because I really want you in the booth with me on May 6th, or whoever you can work with on May 6th. The number one seed in the regular season of Division One has not won the championship, I think, 4 out of the last 6 winter seasons.
Well, I guess that bodes well for me being in the booth with you, because I think we're going for that regular season title, even though it doesn't mean much. But like I said,
that would be a championship they can bring to the booth.
Right. Hopefully, I'm not in the booth with you. But if I am for some terrible reason, at least we're working together, which is what we want to be doing.
Absolutely, Jeff. Go rest up, man. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Enjoy Law and Order as for you, and let me know how that goes, and we'll definitely talk again, my friend. And by the way, final 4 picks. Who you got?
So I'm still alive in my survivor pools, but give me UConn, and then give me a crazy NC State upset over Purdue.
Okay, so
is there a team that? So give me UConn, NC State, with unfortunately UConn ending the NC State team of destiny, but give me a UConn NC State final with UConn taking it.
Okay, fair enough then, Jeff. Enjoy that, my friend, and rest up, my friend. Drink lots of warm water, my friend, and you'll be better
I'm on it
tomorrow.
I'm on it. Thanks, guys. Thanks,
All
boys.
right, see you May 6th.
Yeah.
Jeff Rosenblatt on with us, as we always enjoy our conversation with him, talking Div 1 and Div 2, mostly with Div 1 as well. As now on the tarmac will be Manu Alaroy, who will join us here with us in the coming minutes. And then Brent Bach top of the hour to wrap it up here for calling the Audible. Nangle, we're good to go with our boy, Manu Alaroy. And let's try and get this ready to roll. As Manu Alaroy wearing the FPF shirt like a true company man that he is. Manu, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hello, Mo. How are you, my man?
I am well. I am well, my friend. I'm just fasting, finishing off my fast, drinking some water right
Yes,
now.
yes.
So, that's what we do.
Um, yeah, I see you. I see you. You're a trooper.
I am, man. These are long. It's the last week, man. It's the FU week, like where everything you get annoyed by everything because it's like,
Yeah.
all right, let's get this over with. Let's go through this, and so there's like another week to go. So it's one of those, right? But we're almost there.
Hey,
We're almost
you
there.
got this, my man.
Hopefully I do. I'll regain the weight that I lost in like 2 days. That's for sure. Okay, Manu. Big announcement, right? We got the Div 3 playoffs format. We're gonna unveil a little bit here and get your instant reaction with it.
Nice.
This, out of curiosity, do you have any idea how the Div 3 playoff format is going to look like?
Man, I've been thinking about it. I really don't know. It says on the description that the first 12 team have a bye, the first round bye. So it's gonna be interesting what goes on. I think it's the wild card first round with the bottom teams. But after that, man, I'm really really excited to see what's going on in Div 3.
Okay, so the way that we came about with this, because look, it's hard to forecast, divisions, right? Because it's
Yeah.
almost random. Like you're putting teams in a group to say, okay, we're gonna put this, and this, right? And then sometimes, Manu, like we get one division that's the best of the best. Where you get like
Yeah.
4 teams, as you see in your division, that have 6 wins or more at this point. And you don't want them to get knocked out, or not. You don't want them to be penalized by playing early on in the rounds.
Yeah.
So what we're doing now, and Iggy will have a full recap in this article with displays and the whole nine. We're doing a March Madness format for this Div 3 playoff.
Oh.
So what this means is that what we're going to do is, for the bracket format, okay, we're going to have that as being what it is. No reseed. It's going to be bracket format like we have in March Madness.
Yep.
The 4 division winners. So right now, if we look at it right now for the division standings, if we're using this as the present moment, as I look at it, Easy W, Bruins, AF1, and Diamond Bougie, your team, right?
Yeah.
They would be the top 4 seeds, so ranked accordingly, right? So say Easy W and you guys are the 2 best teams. You'll be the 1 seeds on the opposite side of the bracket. And the other division winners would be the 2 seeds. So it would be ranked accordingly to the division format, right? So it's a reward to the teams that won their division, that you get a top end seed in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
So that's the top 4. In the next phase, which might get a little bit confusing here. So the next 8 teams, those are seeds 3 and 4. So those we put in 4-team pods. So 4 teams in one group, 4 teams in the other group, with 3 seeds and 4 seeds, right? The idea that we're trying to implement, if it does work, which we hope it does, is that we want to avoid having repeat matchups that we saw in the regular season. So, for example, if we go back to your division, Diamond Bougie, we don't want to see Diamond Bougie, as an example, we don't want to see Backyard Boys playing lightweight in the first round.
Yeah.
Right? We want to create that unknown effect that, hey, it might be lightweight against Sharks in the first round.
Nice,
right?
nice.
If it falls into that whole thing, right? So we're gonna line it up here to make sure that there's no and to be transparent. I'm involved in this whole process because I don't have a horse in this race here. So I'll be with help with others in this division and others in this league. We're gonna be transparent with how we're gonna line up the 3 versus 4 matchups, and that brings us to the last situation, right? As you see, seeds 13 through 20 will play each other in a playing game. So 13 versus 20, 14 versus 19. 15 versus 18, 16 versus 17. The 4 winners, whatever their seed is, will advance to the next round, and they will play the division winners according to rank of where they are in the 1 versus 4 matchup, 2 versus 3, 2 whatever it is matchup.
Wow. Okay.
So it sounds confusing, but it isn't. I know I'm explaining without graphics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a March Madness where we want to avoid in the first round repeat matchups that we had in the regular season, and we create that again, that idea that, hey, that first seed might be Easy W. They're going to play the low seed left, whoever that might be. It could be a repeat matchup, but again, it's based on them being rewarded for being the best team in their division as a top end seed.
Definitely, I like it, and you explained it well. For sure, once we have the graphics, it's going to be way more simple. But
Yeah.
I like the fact that we reward those teams that had a great season. Because in a big division like Division 3, only 6 teams misses the playoffs. So even if you have like a so-so record, you can still make it. And it's like the regular season doesn't have that much of an impact, but with that playoff schedule, playoff breakdown in that bracket, it makes finishing in the top much more important, and you get an easier matchup. But every game is hard in the playoffs because,
Yeah.
like you guys said, it's all a matter of who gets hot at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, division winners will be ranked accordingly 1 through 4 based on how they
Yeah,
finish the win loss record, and they get rewarded. And then the
that's it.
next two pods, which is the seeds 3 and 4, they will be ranked accordingly of how it is, right? In terms of like, okay, you know what, we might have this matchup as being the first round matchup. And
Yeah,
and look, it's gonna be fun. Is it gonna be perfect? No, because we don't know how it's gonna play out. But we want to give every team the unknown of who they're gonna face. We don't want no. We
I
don't want
like
teams to
it.
know who they're gonna face. That's the idea of the first round. And
I
then
like
once the
it.
bracket's set, you'll know. Hey, listen, if we advance, we could play this team in the next round,
Yeah, yeah. No, I
right?
I really like it. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So Iggy will have it on the full rundown for those who are gonna see it out there. I'm glad you like at least one person likes this format, and we'll see how this plays out in this situation. But speaking of the format now, 18 right
Ah,
now, they're 3-5-1. Does that tie that they have hurt them, or will it help them in securing a better playoff spot for April
ooh.
winners?
Uh, I think definitely that tie will help them just because it will give them that 1 point that could break a tie with another team. But man, I'm disappointed. A couple podcasts ago, I was saying A team was my Final Four team. I had really, really high hopes for that team. I don't know what's going on. I'm a bit worried, but I think that to answer your question, that one tie at 1 point will help them at the end, especially if they get that fourth win. And for example, Griff Nation gets also that fourth win. They would have that 1 point that just puts them right over the edge at that 20th spot to sneak into the playoffs. And yeah, so that's my thoughts.
And to give you an example, so A team right now is number 20 in the overall Div 3 standings, right?
Yeah,
So they would play friends with Danny in the first round of the playing game, right? So right now, I mean, look, they played teams tough. I think they got a good defense.
yeah,
Their offense is where I wonder, can they score points against the better offenses out there?
yeah,
And if they were to get past the playing game, and they would be the lowest remaining seed, so they would play in theory Diamond Bougie, right? Can they
yeah,
match up well Diamond Bougie in the first round? I don't think they would. But again, it's based on how they can peak at the right time here, Manu. And I
yeah.
just think that for them at 3-5-1, it's gonna be more their defense that wins them football games than their offense.
Yeah, man, it's I'm really confused on how they aren't able to capitalize off having a great defense like they have. I think that they just need to maybe go back to the drawing board, find some ways to slow the game down, especially if you have that kind of offense. Don't try to go for the big shots every time, and
Right.
try to take away a little bit of that workload on your defense, and let them just ball out. And also, when the offense plays well, it gives so much more confidence to the defense. And they're not always thinking like, "Oh, we got to go out there, we got to get a stop." No, it's like we're gonna get a turnover, we're gonna get a big play, we're gonna hype up the team. Now it's always trying to play some pick up football in a sense, like they always trying to get back. So yeah, I think I'm not too worried, but man, I'm disappointed in that team.
So on the flip side of things here, right? You look at Griff Nation, Wide Open
Yeah,
Bar, Blue Chips, and Greendale Human Beings. They're still in play, right? I mean, Blue Chips and Greendale have some work to do because they're 3 points away from A team.
yeah,
Griff Nation, Wide Open Bar are only essentially a win away from jumping them.
yeah,
So do you? I know you're pretty confident in A team right now, but do you
yeah.
think Griff Nation Wide Open Bar, Blue Chips, or GHB have a chance to jump into the playoffs?
If I had to choose between all those teams, it would be Griff Nation, and it's based that they beat EZW, and that was the upset of the year. And if they're able to do the same thing against, well, Kiss My In-Laws, it's not easy, but if they are able to bring that type of performance against a top team, I I have most faith in them. Wide Open Bar, I don't really know. It's tough, and for Blue Chips, they're just too disorganized. It's going to be hard for them to win. So
Yeah, Blue Chips. I agree with you. They're not a well organized team. They just had some really disjointed efforts that they had on Friday night, especially.
yeah, who did they play on Friday night?
Blue Chips played in Laval on Friday night. They played Mongoose, and they lost by
Oh
one.
yeah. Ooh, okay, closer than I thought, but because Mongoose is like the super organized team. Like they know their plays, they know everything. And Blue Chips, they're all over the place. They got some great players, Sanders Armand and a couple different guys. But it's just, man, you gotta have a plan. You're going up against teams that are very sharp, are very organized, and that's the word, organized. You have to be.
Yeah, but they weren't organized, and they
No.
always they always implode. They always have these weird moments of everyone's against them, and
Yeah.
I just think for Mitchell, the quarterback, his playbook is very bland.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
hard to
reliant
read.
on him to run around in the pocket, and if you have a great rusher against him, you force him to throw, and most of the time you can come up with picks.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't see him being dynamic to beat a better team. So again, like I said, I mean, if they were to get in as the 20th seed, you're playing maybe for instance Danny,
It's
who are a
tough,
very
man.
good team, very calm
Yeah,
and efficient how they run their offense and stuff and
yeah.
defense. And even if you get past them, right, you got to play the overall number one seed, whoever that might be.
That's why I like the playoff breakdown. I love it. If you're in the bottom, you have the toughest road.
You do, but that's the whole point of it, right? Like you're
Yeah,
rewarding teams that have won the division. Then the next pause, right? The second place, third place teams, whatever it is, they're the seeds 3 and 4,
yeah,
and
that's
then you
it.
go from there, man. Like that's what it is, right? And if you win out, you've earned the right, right? And
There we
hopefully this
go.
works out where we do have some really appealing matchups going towards playoffs here.
I'm sure.
So look, we know this big one involving your team this weekend.
Yeah.
You guys on Bougie against lightweight. So
Yes.
and now, as you now heard, right, that division crown to be your first place winner in the division is massive because you avoid playing some of the sharks, no pun intended, in the
Yeah.
Dip 3 waters as a 2 or 3 seed.
No, definitely. That game is really really big. I think it's a big game for us. Diamond Bougie, we really won't want that game. Try to finish first or second, at least clinch our division, because we do have a loss to Backyard Bullies, and we have a tie also. We're the team that tied the A team. So yeah, it's very very big for us. I'm going out there. I know it's the last game of the year. Last game of the regular season. But to me, it's getting ready for the best teams. Lightweight is a great opponent, and we're really looking forward to it. And it's really important for us to win
Yeah,
that game.
and I think it's a bigger game for lightweight because
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think it is because remember this lightweight team jumped out as gangbusters, right? They were flying out of the blocks as we were
Yep.
talking about them, and then of late now, they lost by 1 to Sharks. They beat
Yeah.
the Girl Cock by 1, and then they had a weird loss to Infantry back in late February, and
Yes.
that's
Yes,
when
I
they didn't really
remember.
play well. And they've had some close wins and some close losses, but I think this is a bigger game for them because you know what, Manu, if they were to lose this game, they're going to end up in a position where they're going to play a tougher opponent in the first round than say be the division
Yeah.
winner, and you get an easier perhaps opponent as a number 1, 2, or 3 or 4 seed in the bracket format.
That's it. But it's interesting because tonight lightweight are playing. Is it? Yeah. It's no Thursday. So
Thursday, yes.
yeah, they're
Thursday
playing.
night
They're
football.
playing in 2 days against Dirty Birds, which is probably a win because we know how Dirty Bird season is going. But yeah, it's an interesting take that you think that the lightweight game is more important. I disagree. I tend to think that Diamond Bougie it's more important for Diamond Bougie to win, just because if we lose, we risk falling down and basically not winning our division. But at the same time, I don't know if we want to buy or if we want to play games, because this season we really have a weird schedule in the sense that we didn't play for like 2 weeks, didn't play for like a month, and I know it's because the winter season it's different for the scheduling, but having like play just coming off a win, and I think it's maybe better. It's something I'm debating internally. Do you want more games or do you want to break? I know a buy is always nice, but we want to get in that groove. We need that groove, especially with our quarterback. We want to get him going, get him hot.
Well, you know what? It's not really a bye, right? I mean, it's
No,
sort
no,
of,
no.
it's sort of that, again, you got to play an extra game, right? In the 13-20 matchups that you have, right? 13 versus 20, 14 versus 19, so on and so forth here. But I just think that in the case that we're in for now for you guys or Lightweight or backyard bullies, two of those three teams are end up in a tougher, not tougher bracket, but in a tougher matchup road than being the division winner of your group.
Yeah.
So that's why. Right now, is there a team in Div 3 that's leaking oil that you're concerned about towards playoffs?
Man. Well, of course, we already talked about a team, but if I had to think about another team that's leaking oil, I think that's what she said. It's Mike Piercin's team. I think it's for a team that just went to the finals in Division 3 in 2023, barely making the playoffs right now, sitting at 4-5. If they lose, maybe they jump down. I don't know, but I think that's a team that's leaking oil. I would tend to say Males Angels, but he's just coming off a big win against Air Force One. So I'm gonna have to go with that's what she said. I think it's just they're just missing that drive that they had last season. But that said, they have the experience on the roster and they know what it takes to go all the way. They didn't win, but they faced off against a crazy team, Silent Ticklers last year. But yeah, I think that's what she said are leaking oil right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, but then again, on the flip side, if they do qualify for playoffs, Manu, I wouldn't want to face them because they would face an infantry. Like you think about that, an infantry. That's what she said. Matchup would have been like a more deeper playoff game. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many intriguing storylines they're going to have that whoever wins that game, they could go on a run and run the table and win this Div 3 title.
No, for sure. I think the bottom teams will have that little underdog mentality, and they would take that with them and try to prove something that hey, we might didn't have the best season, like 5-5 record or 4-6, but hey, it's a new season now. Let's go. That's the mentality I would have.
So right now, as we move into again, Iggy will have a full breakdown of this playoff format here. So now, how does take us inside, say, Diamond Bougie, right? How do you approach your final games of the season, knowing that being the division winner has a lot more bearing now than before the announcement, or now that the pieces coming out for this Div 3 playoff format? So how is this going to play out for you guys moving forward?
For us, it's a big game. We look just a little insight. I looked at our schedule, and most of our wins did not come out against the best teams. Like most of our wins, teams are in the red, so that's a bit concerning. So for me, I'm looking at it. We're going against lightweight. We're going against one of the best teams, going against the best quarterback in the division, Simon Dagenet, playing super well. And for us, it's like, okay, let's be sharp. Let's be ready. Let's play it like a playoff game. I know we still have one more after, but guys, it's serious now. It's the big dogs. So get ready for that. And just execute as we always do. And most importantly, have some fun, because that's our number one goal.
Well, here's the give and take is that if you guys win against Simone's team on Saturday,
Yeah,
you've essentially clinched the division, pretty much.
definitely. Yeah,
But if you do lose, and if Lightweight were to win Thursday,
yeah.
and if they were
We're
to beat you
sliding down.
guys, yeah, if they were to beat you guys, they would temporarily have first place. But remember, backyard bullies also will factor in.
That's
So
it.
it
They have,
becomes
yeah,
even. It's just going to be crazy how this is going to play out.
yeah,
And then we talk about seedings for bracket format. Again, two of the three teams in this division alone are going to probably end up on maybe in a tougher side of the bracket because of the
yeah.
quality of teams that will be to be had in this bracket or they're going to be in for this Div 3 playoffs.
Yeah, man, it's super exciting, and I can't wait to really see the whole breakdown. But I'm glad that the Div 3 players listening will have a little sneak peek to what's going on for the playoffs. It's definitely going to be fireworks,
It,
all playoffs.
it will be. It will be, Manu. And we'll see how this plays out moving forward again. Manu, thank you so much, my friend, for coming on as always, as usual.
Thank you,
And,
Mo. Thank you, Ali Reza.
You don't
And
thank you don't have to thank Ali Rosa for anything, man.
you always thank Nightingale.
You just press buttons on his end. That's all he does.
Come on, Mo. But hey, love you guys, and
Yes,
have a great
likewise.
night. Great rest of the show.
Yeah, we'll talk again next week, man, and we'll have more. As again, Iggy will have the full rundown, breakdown of the playoff format for Div 3 coming up. We can't wait to show that as well. Thank you so much, Manu. Manu Laroy on with us as we now wait for Brent Bakken. Nigel, do we have an update with Brent Bakken here? Okay, I'm gonna have a piece of my date right now. As I like to do this here. This is fantastic webcasting action right now. So, as I have my date, get some sugar in me. So, as I said before, oh man, this date's really sticking to my woo. All right, we're good. We're good. As you said before, for this Div 3 playoff format, Iggy will have the full breakdown. It seems complicated, but it isn't really. So really what it comes down to is this. Division winners will be your top 4 seeds. And then after that, seeds 5 through 12 will all be in that pods that will align. And then 13 through 20, winners for those will move through and we'll get that going ahead. On the on-deck circle, do we have Brent Bakken ready to go here, Nangill? I think we do. We're going to be ready to have on Brent Bakken in a couple seconds here as we wrap up with Div 6 and 35 plus with them. Nangill, where are we at right now with Brent Bakken? And welcome in, Brent Bakken. Brent, if we're working on Central Time, you're early for the 7 o'clock hour in Chicago, but late on the East Coast.
Yeah, my apologies.
If there's one thing I could get, if I could have been a billionaire by now with Brent Bakken in time.
Okay, simmer down. I'm a busy man, my friend. I'm a busy man.
And you know it's true. A busy
100%.
man, just like the Duke Blue Devils losing to the NC State Wolfpack, huh?
We made it further than you guys in the tournament, so that's all I care about. It's fine.
Oh wow! One more
Hey.
day further. Fantastic.
Hey, no, a whole round further. Simmer down there, buddy. A whole round further, my friend. You guys were done with Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken, right? I mean, we made the Elite
We beat
Eight.
you guys twice this year.
Who cares about that? Technically, we made the Super 6, my friend, because we got eliminated on the second night. So technically, it's a Super 6, not the Elite 8 that we made. You guys were done Sweet 16.
Oh, Super 6,
You
okay.
call maybe the original 64 if you want. It's been such a long time that you guys have played a game. I thought you guys didn't even make the tournament. Maybe you had a better luck in the NIT, maybe? I don't know.
Yes, because we lost on the Thursday. You guys lost on the Saturday.
Don't worry, my friend. It's a whole different round, my friend.
We beat you guys twice this year, though.
Dude, who cares about that? No one
Beat you
cares about
guys
that. It's all
twice
about March Madness, my friend. It's all about the tournament in and of itself, brother.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I'm glad you agree.
I'm sure it is.
Glad you agree.
Okay, Brent, let's dive into Div 6 and 35 with playoffs coming up here. We'll get your quick takeaways from that afterwards. Your biggest takeaway from the Div 6 weekend action was what?
Okay, so I had a chance on Saturday to score keep a couple of games, actually, for Div 6. I did it earlier in the week as well. One team, I saw them earlier in the season, and I didn't have a chance. I saw them, I think, week 4 or 5. And then I didn't have a chance to see them until this past weekend. The Flag Dealers, right? 2-8 record, not the way they wanted to end their season, obviously. They finished off. It's weird. They smoked Queens 45-0, then turned around and lost to Demons 30-6. that team has weapons. I've talked about it in my articles before, especially this past week. Serge Hayek, 16 TDs, 607 yards. I mean, he's gonna obviously fall short of receiver of the year because of the year that Jonathan Batazzi, who we'll talk about later, is having. But he's phenomenal. Jack Hazari, great two-way player. Mark Haddad, I like him at center. He drops a couple of passes, but the speed that he has when he gets the ball in his hands is phenomenal. Mike Sirhan as well, 6 INTs. He does some damage as a receiver. I like Roy Khalil, their quarterback. It's weird with that team. Like they'll drop easy passes, but then they'll make like these incredible catches. Khalil will miss guys wide open, but then he'll drop a dime on a post route down the middle, or he'll put the perfect touch on like a corner route for a touchdown or a jump ball in the corner, right? So I think just with a bit more experience under their belts and learning from this season, I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in Div 6 going forward, or Division E if they play in the spring/summer season. But what I besides those guys, what I saw in general is just like teams are so hungry. Even those teams who have no shot at making the playoffs, a lot of teams want to play spoilers. Like Queens, for example, they were going all out. They almost ended up winning one of their games. We're at the end point of the regular season, right? And teams are jockeying for position, and it's great to see because I know one of the fields this past weekend there was a ton of forfeits. We hate to see that, obviously, here at FPF. I'm happy to see the teams are still committed, whether they're in the playoff dance or not. You know, trying to play out their season and make some noise and maybe generate some momentum going forward for next season.
Yeah, I think I saw two Div 6 games. I was trying to remember. I did so many games this past weekend that you lose track sometimes of what it was. I saw
Yeah.
pitches play, and we've spoken about pitches ad nauseum a little bit here and how they've been so far this season.
Right.
I think my concern about them, as prolific as they are coming out of the blocks, is trying to close out games, and that worried me a little bit in how even though they won rather easily against Royals, they let them hang around a little bit here and there as well. And I'm just curious to see now because you made the point before about playoffs, right? And how the format breaks down is the Div 6 playoffs and the
Yeah.
6D playoffs, right? So it's going to be split to two, right?
Right.
It's going to be a race,
Mm-hmm.
Brent, I think, for those teams on the borderline of being a Div 6, but they might end up playing in not the lower division, but in the 6D playoffs, which may not be the cream of the cream when it's all said and done.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's two ways to look at it. Listen, I mean, you could look at it as not the cream of the crop. I think that's what you're trying to say, or not as good as Div 6. But I mean, listen, the playoffs are still the playoffs, right? I mean, a friend of mine had told me this, Alex Russell. He told me this a long time ago. When you sign up to play FPF, the regular season doesn't matter. It helps you with positioning, obviously, but everyone ideally is playing to win a championship, right? And that's what matters most. Doesn't matter whether you're in Division 1, Division 6, Division 6D, whatever championship may be. You sign up to have some fun, play some ball if you love football, obviously, but you sign up to win a championship, right? So people, it shouldn't matter whether you're playing for the Division 6 championship or you're playing for in the 6D playoffs or what have you, right? In terms of answering your question, yeah, there's going to be a lot of teams, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, looking at the playoff breakdown right now, I believe it's the top, 12 or 15 teams qualify for the playoffs, right? So I mean, there's going to be some teams, unfortunately, who are going to be left out or on the outside looking in, at least for the regular Division 6 playoffs. You look at teams like Show Me Your TDs, right? I mean, they have 4 wins. Right now, they're in sixth in Group A. You have a team like the Royals, right? 4 wins in Group B. You have No Fly Zone. They're tied with 5 wins with like mutation in that. So Jurassic Park Rangers as well. So there's going to be some teams who are going to fall out of that upper category for Div 6 and they're going to have to play
Right.
for in 6D, right?
And that's a question I had on the list here is that do you think, and you list some teams right now, but what about superior records, right? We talk about maybe a team that might go 5-4-1, or they might
Right.
go maybe 6-4. That might not be enough to get into the Div 6 playoffs here, and that might. It could go two ways, right? If you're a team that you thought, hey, I should be in the Div 6 playoffs, but now I'm in the 6D playoffs, are they going to be motivated to give their full effort knowing that they missed out by the skin of their teeth to get into the Div 6 playoffs?
Well, that's what I was saying before, right? I mean, listen, it's going to suck. Some good teams will be left out of the Div 6 playoffs, but for the most part, you have no one to blame but yourselves, right? If you're not in the Div 6 playoffs, you need to look in the mirror and think about some of the choices you and your team have made this season. Maybe look at potential roster upgrades. But again, you still have a chance to win a championship, right? You still have a chance at least to compete in the playoff dance, being 6D, right? So less motivation. I can understand we're all human, right? I can understand that might not be what you're signing up for to be in the 60 playoffs, but you still have a chance to make a playoff run and do some damage, right? And most importantly, get better, right? That's ideally what we're all trying to do here. We're trying to have fun, play some ball, but you want, unless this is your last season, unless you plan on doing being one and done and retiring, or you're at the end of the line, whatever, you want to get better for the next season. And if you make the 60 playoffs, this is your chance to prove to yourself that you know what, we're one of the top teams, and next year we're going to get our act together and we'll qualify for the regular playoffs, if you will.
So right now, if you look at all three divisions or three groups, they're
Yeah.
almost similar in terms of the win loss record from top to bottom.
Yep.
Is there in your mind the toughest group? Which one is that?
I was going back and forth on this one. I mean, they all look really good. I mean, you can go to Division C, where you have the meat fillers, the pigeons, Super Turbo Navettes, right? Even teams like Mutation now and No Fly Zone, they're all at 5 wins. You look at Group B, obviously Free Agent Squad. At one time they were undefeated. There's Demons are in there, Fire and Blood again, a team that I like a lot. I've written about them numerous times this season. Cheat Squad, Chomedy Chose. But I'm gonna go with Group A. You have the best team no matter what in Div 6. Yeah, they ended up losing last week in Skull, right? But they're sitting at 8-1 right now. Pardon me, yeah, 8-1 right now. They're the best team without a shadow of a doubt. You have second place, right? You have two teams tied for second. What are you doing? Step Bros, Salt and the Pepper, right? Both with 6 wins. You have the Texas Chooches, pardon me. They're actually improving a little bit. 5-4. I had a chance this past Wednesday. I was replacing a scorekeeper in Laval, and I had a chance to see the Speakeasy. I hadn't really seen them this season. There was a couple of teams this past week who I hadn't seen. Now I could officially say I've seen everybody. But the Speakeasy is it's a good team to be reckoned with. Again, they're they're a 5-win team. They have 2 games left, so they can easily finish with 7 wins, right? Show Me Your TDs, another good team. The Mortadels, 3-6-1. I mean, maybe if there were another group to be a little bit better, what have you. But I want to go with Group A. Sorry, it's a long-winded answer. I want to go with Group A because you have the best team in Skull, and you have a lot of other teams who I think are up there with the cream of the crop of the rest of Division 6.
So they haven't played it in almost a month now. They're 5-3. They're in fourth in Group B. Cheat Squad. Are you buying into this team that they could be a dark horse, whichever playoff format they end up in?
It's an interesting question. I mean, I'm looking at Cheat Squad right now. I mean, they're coming off of a loss to Fire and Blood, but that's all the way back on March 9th, like you said, right? It's almost a month ago. Their last game, they finished though. They have a favorable schedule. They finished with the Cavaliers, the Rohan, and the DG Shotters, right? So I expect Cheat Squad to finish out the season going 2-0. Because looking at some of their other games, I mean, yeah, they blew out Queens, they blew out the Flag Dealers. Those are teams they should be whooping, to be honest with you. But I think going into the playoffs with that momentum on a 2-game winning streak would be huge. My question though with the Cheat Squad is, okay, so let's say you win those 2 games, that's fantastic. They would then finish the season at 7-3 right now. I'm looking at their point totals.
Yeah.
They're tied with Chomedy Choch, right, for fourth. They have a chance to maybe leapfrog Fire and Blood again. They're gonna have to have more wins than they do, obviously, to leapfrog them because they lost a head-to-head matchup. But looking at Cheat Squad as a whole, like, who have they really beaten this season? They lost to the Free Agent Squad, right? I mean, they lost to Fire and Blood. Good to beat the Chomedy Chodes, but I mean, I don't really know if I'm buying that. Like, it seems to me like they're a team that when they play upper echelon teams, not that they don't show up, but they lose. So I mean, am I really buying them? Not really, to be honest with you.
I mean, I score kept 2 of the games early in the season, and they beat Speakeasy by 8, and they beat, as you said before, Chomedy Chose by 6. But you know, like in the last half of the season, I mean, they gave Free Agent Squad a good run for their money. They lost by 1, right, which isn't a bad thing. There's no, I mean, you want to win obviously, but I mean, there's no
Yeah.
disappointment to lose by 1 to a really good team, and then you whoop Flag Dealers, and then Fire and Blood you get whipped. So I think these next 2 games can kind of set the tone for them. That if they do win convincingly in style points, that maybe they might get a good matchup, and then maybe they can go on a run here and maybe be a 2 if not 3 round team going towards maybe the final 4 if not the finals.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I've seen some of the guys on their team play. Like Josh Notes, guy I've been seeing going back to last summer. Actually, I noticed him playing on a couple different teams. I like him. He's one of the fastest guys in all of FPF. Actually, that kid on a team, Luke Morrow, actually only played one game for them. He's a kid actually that used to be in the class that I taught. This is how old I am, way back in the day. But they have some playmakers on their team. But like you said, listen, if they could win convincingly over the Cavaliers of Rohan and DG Shotters, I may change my tune a bit. Again, these are teams that again they really should be beating. They should be blowing out. To be honest with you, we're gonna see obviously what happens starting this Thursday. Yeah, they're in Laval this Thursday.
Yeah.
And Laval against they're playing basically two games in a course of 2 days. So Thursday and Saturday both in Laval. So we're gonna see what happens. Maybe they get some style points, but again, the most important thing is just getting the W because, like I said, right now they're looking at the record. They are tied for fourth right now, and they need to really punch their ticket to the postseason, and getting those wins obviously help them do that. So we'll have to see what happens.
All right, Jonathan Botazzi, is he more likely to reach 70 catches or 800 receiving yards this season? Right now, he's at 719,
Yeah.
and he's at 62 catches with one game to go.
Yeah, so I was looking at it before, man. I don't know. I don't think so. And I'm going to say that not to say that he's not capable. He's a great receiver. He's the best receiver we have right now in Div 6, right? I just think of look who he's playing. He's playing Fire and Blood for his last game of the season. This is a defense. They've given up 31 points total in their last 3 games combined, right? So they're averaging 10 points a game, if you want to do the math. I don't know if they're going to let him get that total. I mean, he's a great player, and if anyone could do it, he can. But Fire and Blood, again, that was my sleeper team since like the halfway point of the season to win the championship. I don't want to come off of that now. Like I really like what they're doing defensively, and I've seen them play a couple times. I scored kept a couple of their games. They have the speed and the length on defense to go toe to toe with someone like Potazzi. So I'm gonna say no, he doesn't reach that total.
All right. Who is the best pass rusher in Div 6? Because there's a boatload who have 10 plus sacks this season.
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a really good question. I was thinking about that before, so I was torn. There's a couple of guys, right, who really stick out. So I've written some down. I'm trying to find where I put it. My apologies. There's a lot of rushers, and what I've said this. I think from the first article I wrote this season about Division 6. This is what I like about this division. There's a lot of guys who are great rushers historically in our league, right? And a lot of them get their start in Div 6. So for those, first of all, let me just say for those guys out there who are playing the role of rusher this season in Div 6, keep on working at your trade, keep on practicing, because I could tell you guys like Brian Nguyen, Zachary Elbers-Gill, who's going to be on he's coming on. Did he come on tonight already? He's coming on.
He's coming Thursday.
Okay,
We
right.
demoted his
like
ass
that.
to Thursday's podcast.
Okay, well there you go, right?
This
Kenny
is the prime
Batoulier.
podcast over here.
Exactly, I agree. I fully agree. That's why I'm on it. Nah, but there's guys who've gotten their start here in
you
Div
got
6,
this.
and if sorry, what was that?
Nothing. I see.
Yeah, that's the
Carry on.
There's guys who've gotten their start here and they've really taken off. Like a guy like Vincent Bulolu, pardon me, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Yeah, Bulolu from like the Super Turbo Naves. He has like 15 sacks. David Jean Baptiste from Mutation. I mean, 13 sacks, and it's hard. Listen, this is one thing about being a rusher. Simon Bastos as well from Skull. Getting a sack, I always say this is like icing on the cake. Your main job as a rusher is just to get the quarterback to throw the ball quickly, right? Or before he or she is ready to do it. Getting a sack is like a bonus. So, I mean, for these guys that are coming out and doing it, my hat goes to them. But if I want to pick one guy, I'm going to say Massimo Rosati, just because, again, 16 sacks. You can't really ignore that. I believe, he's leading all rushers with 16 sacks, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I'm going to go with him. And again, he has 2 games remaining, right? His team, the Royals, 2 games remaining, so he can hit that 20 sack plateau.
If he does, yes or no? If he does he win Defensive Player of the Year?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So, what matters more to you, INTs or sacks?
Well, sacks, you killed off 16 plays.
True, but I mean,
And
you have a guy like.
PDs, and
I
sorry,
hear you.
Brett, to cut you off here. PDs, he's got 4, so he's impacted 20 plays.
Right. No, that's true.
INTs,
That's
right?
true.
If you look at it right now, Vincent Rachal has 12, 3 for pick sixes. So he's impacted essentially 19 plays. He has 4 PDs, 3 pick sixes, and 12 INTs. So really,
But I see, I'm looking at it right. Exactly,
So-
right.
in theory, right? But it's the front end, right? If you get a Max Crosby like pass rusher as they have in this division, you're going to have that impact like he's had from the pass rushing position over here.
I hear you. So obviously, right, like in tackle football as well. Like a good pass rush needs good guys to cover. Good secondary, good coverage, good secondary coverage. I should say needs a good pass rush, right? So I mean, you have like a Treverius Ward guy like Vincent Richard, like 12 INTs, like you said, three
Sorry.
TDs. Another guy like James DaCosta, right? 9 INTs. Alexander Montier, 8 INTs. 3 of them he returned for touchdowns. How much of that goes because they have a solid rusher, right? Or at least on a not play, someone rusher pass it well. I mean, I think, sorry, to answer your question, okay, you know what? I think 12 INTs is hard to ignore, but you could say the same thing for 20 sacks. So, I mean, we've seen players in this league with 20 sacks. I don't know if you want to hold the quarterback play against Vincent Richard, because not to say every quarterback is horrible in Div 6. There's a lot of good
Yeah.
ones, obviously, but there's also some ones who need a lot more work. I guess you'd have to give it to Massimo again. Yeah, 20 sacks is 20 sacks. I begrudgingly, I'm a former D lineman, but yeah, I guess I'll side with him. But I mean, 12 INTs is still 12 INTs. It's really hard to ignore that.
If only
That's like
Mahomes
me.
got rushed like that in the Super Bowl. Oh, sorry about that. My bad.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we made the playoffs. I don't know about you guys,
We
but
beat the
perhaps we can
Chiefs.
make a
We are
call.
the we are the Super Bowl champs, my friend. We beat the Chiefs, my friend, on
In your
Christmas
way
Day.
of the preseason,
It
in
wasn't
your
a
own
Christmas
mind, you're the
miracle, my
Super Bowl
friend. It was a
champs. Yeah, that's
Christmas
good. You let me know
gift
when
for
we
the
make the
world,
playoffs.
my friend.
It's been 2003. So some of the players who are playing right now in Div 6 were like infants in 2003.
Okay, relax.
You
There.
know,
Relax.
that's besides the
There.
point. No, or some
Relax.
were
There.
even born in 2003.
Relax.
But you know,
There.
hey, the
Relax.
last
There.
time the Raiders won a playoff game, but it's all right.
Relax. There.
It's all right.
Last Brent,
Man.
35 plus. We got 2 playoff games. Brody Windsor on Rock, JMJ versus Flag Plus. Who you liking in those games?
I want to say Brody Windsor because I mean last time the way they played right to end the regular season, I was there scorekeeping that game in Saint Laurent. I mean, I talked about it last week, right? Going from Chris Olsen to Jeff Rosenblatt is like going from whoever is going to start a quarterback for the Raiders to Brock Purdy, right? So I mean, yeah, Rosenblatt kind of chewed up the Brody Windsor defense, and Sean Abram had like the worst game I've ever seen him play in a long time. So I think he's going to rebound from that game. The team's going to learn something, hopefully, from that game defensively. There was a couple of breakdowns in coverage on the back end that they should tidy up. I'm not sure. I don't think Jeff Rosenblatt's going to be able to throw for them in the playoffs. I'm not 100% sure about that.
I'm not sure about that either. We'll
yeah,
have to
I
get
know how
that
it
vetted
works.
soon.
Oh yeah, I imagine it's going to be Chris Olsen. He's been there the whole year, right? He paid. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Olsen.
Yeah.
If you're telling me to choose between Chris Olsen and Sean Abram, ironically, both play quarterback for me. I'm gonna go with Sean Abram and Brody Windsor. The other game, obviously, so Flag
JMJ
Plus.
Flag Plus.
Yeah, so they went head to head a few weeks ago. Last Monday, I should say. Pardon me. And St. Laurent score kept that game 24-19 win, I believe, for Flag Plus. JMJ, that game though was a little weird. It was just sloppy. A lot of drop passes, a lot of blown coverages on defense. Jason Rossi was pretty much throwing the one guy, and you can imagine who that was, right? With that Flag Plus offense. Vince Nardone, if you're not sure who it was, he's
Yeah.
pretty much throwing to him. And not no disrespect to the other guys on the team. Some guys made plays, but Vince Nardone was like a one man show at certain points in that game as a receiver, right? So I think that JMJ is not going to come out and play 2 sloppy games in a row. Ryan Kastner missed a couple of passes as well. I think he'll be a little bit better, as will the defense for JMJ in the rematch, and I'm going to pick JMJ to get the win. So for Brody Windsor, it's avoiding the turnovers that Sean Abram had. He had a couple of pick sixes in that game. If he avoids that, he protects the ball, they'll be fine. And for JMJ, it's just come out more focused, come out more kind of how we've seen them play the whole season. Limit the mistakes. They should be able to squeeze by Flag Plus. Flag Plus is a good team. Don't get me wrong. I just think that JMJ has more playmakers than Flag Plus. That's hence why I'm going with JMJ.
All right, Brent, when's the Div 6 article coming out for you this week?
I'm gonna start it tomorrow. Actually, I'm gonna try to have it out by I'm saying Saturday afternoon. So it's part 2 of my contenders, pretenders, and we're not sure yet article. I did the first 15 teams last week. I'm gonna do obviously the remaining 15 teams this coming weekend. So teams like Little Speak Easy, I'll have something on them. The McGill swim team, a lot of teams in there. I believe show me them TDs as well. I can't remember if I put them in the first article. Winded Warriors. I actually had a chance to see the Winded Warriors. I felt bad for them. This team needs a quarterback, obviously. They have some weapons though on both sides of the ball, but they need a quarterback. As do a couple of the teams, obviously in Div 6. So that's my advice when you build a team. Start first at the quarterback. When you build a team, actually tackle football as well. You got to get a rusher. You got to get a quarterback. Those are the 2 most important positions. Everything else will take care of itself. So if you're a team who hasn't had a great season this year, look at the quarterback position, look at the rusher position, and build from there. But like I said, the article will be out Saturday afternoon, early evening, before WrestleMania. Basically, the article should be out.
Fair enough, Brent. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about Div 6 and 35. I'll see you this week.
Unfortunately, yeah, it'll be your honor, but unfortunately, yeah, I will see you this week.
Send me down, you jobber. All right, Brent, thank you so much. We'll talk soon, man.
Be good.
Be good,
Okay.
bud. That's Brent Bakken there for us, and there we wrap up our coverage for CTA. Thank you to Brent Bakken, Manu Alaroy, Jeff Rosenblatt, and Iggy Magnus for joining us on the show. Iggy will be back Thursday to talk about the other divisions. He will get Jerome Hovington to talk about 4A and 4B. Zachary Alberts Gill will talk about 5A and 5B and Co-Ed 3. And whatever else we have left. I've lost track whatever divisions we have left. Again, playoff format for Div 3 will be unveiled in the article for Iggy. We'll have a lot more to look forward to, so look forward to bringing you that as well. Thank you to Nightingale for a job well done. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Put the place up, yeah, we know